What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have got some absolutely enormous news on some of the bug fixes, changes and additions coming to Battlefield 2042 as early as this week, and I'm going to be breaking down the majority of the really important stuff for you guys in this video. DICE just released a Battlefield briefing titled Launch Update and the Road Ahead, and this was a 5,000 word blog post by the team, pretty much all of which was just patch notes for the upcoming updates, as well as roughly when we can expect those updates too. The first update they mentioned, which is referred to as Update 2, since obviously there's already been the day 1 patch. This update is dropping on the 25th of November, which for me here in Australia is actually tomorrow. I assume around 30 to 36 hours from when this video goes live, just judging by the time of their previous updates. This will be a somewhat smaller update. It's still going to be fixing a lot of the really prevalent issues that need fixing right now, but then the third update, which they've slated for early December, is going to be not only the biggest update for this game, but probably one of the biggest updates I've seen for a Battlefield game in a very long time in terms of bug fixing and balancing anyway. Nearly 3,000 words of this 5,000 word blog post were solely dedicated to dot points, just detailing what these fixes will be, so that update in early December is going to be absolutely insane, and to be honest, it does seem to be fixing pretty much the large majority of the issues that people have with the game at the moment. I'm going to go through the second update now, and then we'll touch on the stuff in the third update after that. I can't mention every single thing because, like I said, this is a 5,000 word blog post, so that'll be a bloody 45-minute video explaining all of it. But what I'll do is I'll cover all of the main talking points, and then I'm actually just going to leave a link to the briefing down in the description for those of you who feel like reading the whole thing. So in the first update, which again is dropping tomorrow night for me on the 25th of November, my guess is around 30 to 36 hours from now, it's mostly fixing those really critical issues that are essentially game breaking. First and foremost, which is the part that I think we all want fixed the most, this is that they've worked out a fix for the bloom issues in the game, meaning the bloom will be significantly reduced on the weapons it was affecting badly. And then they also changed the way it resets in terms of the speed, so essentially bloom as a whole is being fixed, but then also if you burst fire your weapons to maintain accuracy, the time the bloom takes to reset after you stop shooting will also be faster too. So burst firing will see an improvement as well. Both of those fixes are absolutely spot on, and let's just hope it plays like it did in the beta when we finally get to test it. Obviously optimization has been a big thing as well for most of the community. That has been mentioned that will be getting some level of a fix in this update, and then I think a further fix in the third update as well. So hopefully the game does start running a little bit better as of pretty much tomorrow. Alongside that, there are 2 or 3 really important fixes as well, which have both been essentially game breaking. One, the loadout disappearing bug at the start of the game is being fixed, and that's probably my main issue with the game right now outside of the bloom. And then the revive bug is being fixed as well. Currently, if you die next to a wall, you cannot be revived, so that's being fixed as well, alongside a fix for that 0-second timer bug where you go down and you just can't die or respawn and you have to leave the game. They've also mentioned that XP will be re-enabled in Portal, which is absolutely amazing, and they've fixed the limiters and caps so that hopefully people can't exploit the XP, yet we can still earn XP properly, so that is great to see as well. On top of all of those fixes, we're also getting a slight recoil nerf to the PP29, meaning that it will be a little bit less accurate at range, and then the Hovercraft is getting a pretty significant nerf in reduced armor and reduced damage output as well, and then the NIGHTBIRD weaponry is getting nerfed too, so that will be much less of a pest in the skies as well. There are some other really small changes coming in this second update as well, and there will be full patch notes once the update actually drops, but what I've just mentioned is essentially the meat and potatoes of that second update. The bloom fixes, the optimization, those critical bugs and some nerfs. That is mostly what tomorrow's update will involve, so that is super exciting to see those changes, as well as the fact that we are getting it so soon too. Now, like I said, they've already slated another update for early December, which will be update number 3, and this one is ridiculously big, and as I said, there is actually too much to go through, so I'll just quickly sort of read through those dot points of the main changes coming in early December. Some of the things they've mentioned are stuff like improving the ways in which you're able to manage your attachments via the collection screen to reduce the number of interactions you need to have when building your loadouts. They've improved the experience between the end of round and the main menu. They're introducing new weekly missions, providing set challenges that reward cosmetic unlocks. They're improving the overall XP/rank tracking and reliability, as well as improving mastery rank tracking. They're making over 150 individual fixes, small changes and improvements across all of our maps. They're improving a bunch of spawning issues, visual glitches such as the lens flares and visible seams in the sky dome. They're adding a heap of stuff to Portal as well, so they're adding rush game mode layouts for all of the 2042 all-out warfare maps. They're adding new official vehicle team deathmatch templates. They're adding a team and free-for-all gunmaster template and a new official infection template as well. There are a bunch of hazard zone fixes coming as well, none of which seem to be really drastic, but they are essentially fixing the stability and the overall quality of that game mode in terms of the way that it plays. In terms of breakthrough, they've tuned the capture times for breakthrough, and they have said that they're also going to be working on the way that those maps are laid out. I'm not sure if that will be in this update or not, but they have mentioned they're going to be fixing that. They're fixing a heap of the dynamic world stuff, so things like, improving the quality of the tornadoes and the storms and stuff like that, adjusting the timing for the automatic doors on all the maps, improving like the general interaction of the maps and the dynamic world. They're making a bunch of sort of balancing fixes to a lot of the weapons stuff, like they're fixing the 8x scope, which currently has a faster ADS time than the others. They're nerfing the NTW50 against vehicles, fixing the issue where if you're in a vehicle and it gets hacked and then you get out of the vehicle, you actually just can't shoot or anything like that. And then one of the things that I've actually been wanting quite a bit since I've been playing is a lot of changes to the HUD and the UI. So one thing that I've mentioned is that pretty much at all times you can see all of the flag markers on the map, and in a game of Conquest it does get kind of annoying if someone's pretty much directly in your vision, but then there's the C1 flag behind them. You kind of can't see where they are. So there's probably, looking at this, there's probably about 20 different changes they're making to the UI, and I think they're giving us a little bit more customization as well. They're adding a UI list that it shows the nearby players that can revive you within 50 meters when you're down. So that's the typical thing in Battlefield when there's a nearby medic and you're downed. You will now be able to see how far away they are, and then also on top of that, if you are a medic and you ping someone who's down, it will obviously say to them that there is an incoming medic, so they'll know not to essentially kill themselves. So a lot of those legacy changes that are finally coming back, I'm not sure why they weren't there at launch, but it is good to see that they are coming back. They're making some small improvements to the bots. They're doing a heap of audio fixes. There's a heap of different changes, none of which seem to be pretty drastic or anything like that, but there's a lot of changes coming to the specialists just in terms of tweaking their abilities, essentially just giving them a little bit more balance, as well as fixing any bugs to do with their abilities and stuff like that. One that I know a lot of you guys will really enjoy is that they're adding lock-on and lock-off sounds for the S21 Surrep pistol for Falk. So it's actually going to sort of alert you when you're aiming at someone and they need health, when it is actually locked on. So if you shoot, it'll sort of magnetize and it will essentially lock onto that player. So it's going to be a lot easier to heal teammates now, as well as adding a few like visual effects for when you're actually being healed by the Surrep pistol. There are a ton of changes as well coming through the gadgets. Again, none of these ones are really like drastic or anything, but they're just essentially fixing a lot of those smaller issues. And then at the end, they've just got a big list of stuff that is, again, really small issues, nothing that, like a lot of these I haven't really come across myself, to be honest, but I have seen some people mentioning some of these fixes. None of these are really like game breaking. They're more just things like, for example, I've seen when you're looking at someone like 50 meters in the distance, it won't actually show them running. It'll just show like them gliding across the land essentially. So little fixes like that where it's not really a game breaking thing, but it's obviously just improving the quality of life. And so yeah, there's a ton of fixes here. I would recommend you guys go through and read the full patch notes, because what I mentioned just then is I probably read like 1 in 20 things that are listed here. So all of that stuff that I just listed, there is literally 20 times the amount of stuff that I've just listed. So definitely go and check that out if you can be bothered. It is quite a long read. It took me nearly half an hour to read the whole thing, but there are tons of really good changes coming in this third update. Now they even mentioned that there's going to be a 4th update in advance of the holidays too, so I assume that means before Christmas. They've said nothing about that for now. However, earlier on in the blog they did mention they're working on a lot of those legacy additions, such as the server browser, end of round scoreboard, voice chat, all of those things that are in previous games that should be in this game. They have mentioned that they're working on those and they will update us when they've got more to show. So I'd imagine the 4th update will be those sorts of additions and changes, but again, we will just have to wait and see. Like I said, it's absolutely amazing that they've gotten all of this info out to us so fast, and that we're already getting about 4 or so major updates in the first 6 weeks of the game's lifespan. It does seem as though they're really trying their best to fix a lot of the issues that people have, and so that is really good to see from DICE. With that being said though, I do need to see their words turned into actions. Everything that they've said is amazing, and I'm really excited about essentially every single change, but until those are in the game and working as intended, then in my opinion we can't praise them too much for it just yet. Actions speak a lot louder than words, and so let's just hope they deliver what they're actually promising, as that has often been a problem of DICE's in the past as well. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. I'm keen to hear what all of you guys think about all of these changes and additions on the way, so make sure to leave a comment down below with your thoughts, as I know there are going to be plenty of different opinions out there. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. If you guys want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then consider becoming a channel member. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.